Hey, church family, I just want to give you an update on our plans to begin a soft open for our worship services back in the building. I'm excited about the opportunity for us to begin to regather together with lots of consultation from pastors in other churches in Arkansas, with Sonny Tucker, our head of Arkansas Baptist, and others. As we've talked with members in the church body, we are going to begin May 10th, this Sunday, with a soft reopen. And what I mean by that is that we're going to have a grand opening, a grand celebration later when there's less restrictions, but we're going to begin the process of returning back to the building. In doing that, we want to follow along as much as we can with the guidelines that have been given to us by the governor, and we also want to be wise, and we also want to be very careful in beginning our process of reopening. I want to just make it really clear to all of you that if you are in a high-risk category, you need to stay home and you need to continue to protect yourself. If you are in the situation where you're just not sure, you're uncomfortable, we want you to know that there is a lot of grace. There's no expectation for you to be here. Should be no guilt in this time and transition. But we believe it's important for us to begin that process of getting back to worship and coming back together. During this entire process of the soft reopen, we will have continue our live stream. We will switch that we were doing Facebook and YouTube. We're going to switch that just to YouTube. It is proven to be more reliable and more easy for us to get that out there. And so we want you to know if you're in one of those uncomfortable, you're not ready for this yet, we are okay with that. And I want you to be okay with that. But you can still stay home and watch it on YouTube. But this will allow our worship team to come together and work together. We'll broadcast that service live beginning this Sunday. And so just a couple things that I want to share with you as we consider that in seeking to do this wisely and carefully as we begin to reopen. If you're planning to come, here's a couple things that you need to know. First of all, if you have any signs of sickness, if you've had a fever in the last 24 hours, or you've had personal contact with a identified COVID patient, then we would ask that you just refrain from coming on our Sunday morning services. Also, just let you know that we are seeking to follow along with the governor on many of the guidelines that he's given us. He did make a very clear distinction between guidelines and directives, and so the church has a little bit of freedom here as we try to carefully and safely come back. And so the governor recommends in his guidelines and his guidance to churches that masks be worn during the worship services. He made a point to specify that these are not directives. And so we just want you to feel comfortable. If you prefer to wear a mask, then you are welcome to do that. If you're not comfortable wearing a mask, then you are welcome as well. And we just want to be careful and protect one another through this process. At each of our entrances, we'll have a station there for sanitizing. We'd ask as you come into the building that each member of your family sanitize their hands. Also be aware that in our restrooms, anywhere where we have a sink, all of the soap that we have is an antibacterial soap. So lots of places where you can make sure that your hands are as free of bacteria as possible. We're also going to ask, this is different for us, but we're going to just encourage you and ask you to not hug, not shake hands. I know that as you're wanting to come back together, especially for you huggers, this is going to be really hard for you. But just as a way of practicing social distancing, we're going to ask that you not hug or shake hands for the next couple of weeks until we get through this. Also, we will not be providing nursery or children's activities at this point. This is just a soft reopen, and we're going to take several phases in bringing back our full ministry. So take that into account as you're considering coming. But what I want you to know is that what we've set up in our worship center, we've got it set up so that we can follow the guidance there of social distancing. We'd ask that families sit together. And then we've got our rows spread apart, every other row where nobody will be sitting. And then we ask that you give at least 2 seats between family units to practice social distancing. We also have taken our chapel and we've turned it into our family worship center, where if your child needs a little bit more room to wiggle around or might make a little bit more noise, we're providing that as well. That will be a direct feed into our chapel. And so families, we want to encourage you, if you want to be here, but you know that we don't have childcare at this point, and you're not sure if you want your child to be in the worship center, that is available to you. They are welcome in either place as long as they are with you during that time. And so we're just excited to be able to come back together and begin worshiping. I just want to just tell you too that it's going to feel different. It's awkward with space between the rows. It's awkward doing the social distancing, but we believe that it's important for us to begin that process, and that'll be good for us as a church. Also, just let you know that we will not be providing coffee service or refreshments or candy mints or any of those kind of things. There won't be a bulletin. We also will not pass the offering plate. We can continue giving as we've been giving. You guys have done a phenomenal job of just being faithful in giving. And so we have our online platform for that, as well as those of you that are mailing in checks, bringing checks. We'll have our offering boxes at the entrances, so you can use those as well. Also, just let you know as you come, these next couple of weeks, we'd encourage you to come through just two entrances, our south entrance, which is on Trinity Boulevard, and also our east entrance, which is on Four States Parkway. And those will be the two entrances that will be open. And so we just encourage you to use those for coming to the service as well as for exiting the service. Our cleaning procedures will continue to be the same as what we've been doing, and we will also add sanitizing high-touch areas such as doorknobs and door handles and arm rest in our seats, and we will take great care in doing that in between our services. This is going to be a phased approach, so our beginning is we'll just have a 10 o'clock worship service. And it's a soft opening. So if you want to be here, we want you to be here. If you're not ready, please feel free not to come and just watch us live on YouTube. As we move forward, there are no dates on how we're going to proceed, but we do have some phasing that we are talking about, and we are planning on. Our second phase would be then to begin our small groups in our communities, Bible studies that we do. That would also add children's Bible studies as well. And so that will come later in the future. We're not sure exactly when, but when there are less restrictions and concern, we will begin to add those in phase 2. Phase 3 will add our Wednesday nights to that menu and begin our moving back to where we were before the crisis. Just let me encourage you. One of the things that if you haven't been on a foreign mission trip, we always tell our team and remind our team often that it is very important. There are 3 things that are very important about a missions trip. And the first one is to be flexible. When we're facing a different culture and we just cannot control things like we do here in America, well, we're kind of experiencing that here now. So the first rule is to be flexible. The second rule we always tell folks is that to be very flexible. I know it sounds silly, but it's hard for us to be flexible because we're used to things being a certain way. But the third rule is that we always put out is be very, very flexible. So we just encourage you to be flexible. And in this time of transition, we're excited to be able to come back. Again, just to remind you, you are welcome to come. If you are planning to come, I encourage you to read the guidelines that we've placed on our website, and we'll be sending you a link to be able to see those. Those will be under our updates. And if you're not comfortable, I want you to feel completely comfortable staying home and watching it online. If you're not ready, we want you to feel comfortable doing what you need to do. You do what you need to do to protect yourself and take care of yourself. Hey, I am looking forward to this Sunday. It's Mother's Day, and we're going to have a great time celebrating together, whether you're here present or you're present watching from your home. We're excited about it. So we commit that to you, and we look forward to what God's going to do in the future. Thank you.